The UK has spent a crazy amount of money on foreign projects overseas.
Yes, about £15 billion per year. But what exactly are we spending our money on?
Well, to start with, we're sending £114 million for inclusive green enterprises in India.
£9.5 million for accountability and inclusion in the Congo.
£5 million transforming feminist funding in Iraq.
And £500k for a fleet of electric Porsches for Albanian jails.
Elsewhere, there's another £500,000 for Women's Affairs Director for the military of Jordan.
Right, and £264,000 for studying disinformation in Ethiopia.
Added to that, £233,000 for mental health research in Colombia.
And £133k for studying shrimp health in Bangladesh.
Elsewhere, £110,000 on gender disinformation conference in Kenya.
And a small amount, £44,000, studying Thailand's alcohol policies. Right, OK.
Well, that's just a sort of overview of some of the projects we've been sending your money to. Let's discuss it with the Chief Executive at the Taxpayers Alliance, John O'Connell. John, what do you make of this? I mean, it's pretty remarkable to see these projects laid out there in black and white.
Good afternoon, Tom, and good afternoon, Emily. Yeah, and I think particularly now, when times are so tight, when we've seen farmers under the squeeze and we've seen small businesses across the country being whacked in the budget. Of course, pensioners have got their own tail to tell with the cut in the winter fuel payments. And all of these projects will stick in the craw. And I think it's time to call this what it is. This is the hard-earned money of plumbers, electricians, hairdressers, bar staff being taken from them by force and sent overseas to sort of fund the moral crusades of an upper middle class elite that simply are completely out of touch with the rest of the country.
John, I wonder what would happen if Elon Musk got his hands on our foreign aid budget.
Well, I think a lot of those projects would be first for the chop. I think the good thing to say about aid spending in the UK is that it's quite transparent, so we can see this with our own eyes. The one bad thing to say about aid spending in this country is about to go up by £500 million next year. Now, if £500 million sounds like a familiar figure, that's the amount that we send overseas to foreign farmers. That's the investigation work that we carried out at the Taxpayers Alliance. And also, guess what? That's the amount that we're going to take off farmers by removing agricultural property relief on inheritance tax. So the whole system is completely crazy. We spend way too much money and we're not addressing that first problem. When we talk about tax cuts, that's all well and good, but we need to address that first problem. We are spending way too much money. Too much of it is wasted. And we've got to think about scale here too. You know, an average household over a lifetime will pay about £1 million in taxes. You know, so when we talk about these numbers, quite often people say to us, oh, that's just a drop in the ocean. You know, oh, you know, it's a rounding error here. But we're talking about money that's being taken from hardworking families, you know, over a lifetime. This is not annually, over a lifetime. The average household will contribute £1 million in taxes, and it just disappears every single day of the year.
Now, what the government might say to this, of course, is that the Development Department is no more. It was rolled into the Foreign Office. We now call it the FCDO. And a lot of this aid money might be useful if we're sending aid money to a country that is reluctant to take back the people we want to deport. Maybe if we give a bit of money to the shrimp farmers of Venezuela, the Venezuelan government will be more likely to take back the illegal immigrants who come over to this country. I mean, is this all part of perhaps a geopolitical strategy more than an aid one?
Well, if that's the intention, then it's certainly not working, because we don't seem to be able to send our foreign criminals back to where they came from. People talk about soft power, but we're a soft touch. You know, we're seeing what's happened with the Mauritian government running rings around our senior politicians, asking for more and more money and getting it. And frankly, if we're talking about being able to send foreign criminals back to the country from where they came, we should be talking about cutting or completely eliminating aid spending to those countries as a use of force to say you will take these people back, and you know, and relieve British citizens of the crimes that they've committed.
Yeah,
we should be completely reversing that equation.
Yeah, use it as a stick rather than a carrot. John O'Connell, thank you very much indeed, Chief Executive at the Taxpayers Alliance, who often look into some of the random things we spend our foreign aid on. I also hate the argument, don't you, not John's argument, but the one he put across from the other side, that, oh, it's just a drop in the ocean, this little bit of cash. Well, hang on, some of us have had to earn that money, and I'd rather it was spent on something meaningful. But hey-ho, perhaps you support the shrimp farmers in Bangladesh.